Hello everyone. Today is probably one of the most important class you're going to have, which is proper sanitizing and cleaning all your tools, all your products. So let's start. Step one, which is the most important step, is sanitizing your hand. So once your customers sit down on your chair, you excuse yourself and go wash your hands, or you sanitize your hand right in front of her. Don't do it before she comes. You do it right in front of your customers. They need to see that. Make sure you sanitize your palm, but also the top of your hand. Make sure both hands, and you're ready to go. You repeat this after every single customer. It is extremely important, especially now that we are in the middle of a pandemic. Always sanitize your station before you put anything. I like to use disposable paper towel because they're easy. You can just grab it, toss it, and change it in between customers. You can also use a towel, but then you'll have to do laundry. So let's continue with the product. Very important that you do not apply anything right on your skin. Use always a palette. There is so many different shades. I like the clear one. I also like to use the metal one. And you also have disposable hand palette. We've done a video on how to use the disposable. You can check it out to see how to use this. Now with the metal and your clear one, you always spray them with alcohol before you even put any product on them. Every time you have to use any cream, any moisturizer, or foundation, you actually apply it right on your palette, and this is where you take your product from. Never on your hand, except if you have a disposable palette. Moving on, anything that is a palette, eyeshadow, or even a lip palette, you do have to sanitize the product first. So I actually went ahead and purchased, as they're not expensive, they're traveler's size spray. Make sure they're more of a mist. Fill it with 75% alcohol, not 90% or 95%, because it dries very fast. It will not kill any bacteria, it will just freeze them. So make sure you spray and you leave it to dry by itself. Don't wipe or anything, then it's ready to use. After using your palette, you also want to clean it very well. I like to carry with me those little tiny alcohol swabs, and you want to clean the inside after proper using them. You want to clean the outside, and now it's ready to be stored. So you do that with every single product. If it's a lipstick, if it's an eyeshadow palette, you spray it open, leave it to air dry, and you can start and go ahead, use it. After you use it, you have to clean your container all over again to make sure there is no contamination. So the way to do, for example, this is the lipstick. We're going to clean the outside. We're going to clean all around the inside, even the cap. You never ever use the lipstick itself. We're going to scrap, but even though that we're going to scrap and use in a palette, I will spray it with alcohol, leave it to air dry, and then it's ready for me to use once it's dry. Let's talk about how to use eyeshadow in a sanitary way. So this is a single eyeshadow, but it can be done, I'm just using a single container because it's easier to fill, but it can be done with even a palette. So since we really don't want to dip inside, it's because it can grow bacteria, and it can contaminate your next customer. What you will need is a metal palette or a plastic palette. Grab your spatula and you're going to scratch your eyeshadow into the palette. And now, if you're using eyeshadow or blush, it's the same way. You just grab your eyeshadow and you actually can take your product right from here. Once you are all done, you can spray your palette and sanitize it. For lipstick, what you're going to do is use your palette. You're going, after you sprayed it and it dried and it's already ready to be used, you're going to scrap a little bit, and you can go ahead and use the spatula if you have a wide one like this one, or you can go ahead and use it on the palette itself and you lift your product right from here. Once you're done, your spatula, your lipstick, and your palette have to be sanitized with alcohol. If you need to use an eyeliner, you will have first to sharpen it. Second, alcohol, and leave it to air dry. Once you use it, you have to sharpen it again before you put the cap on and sanitize the pencil from outside and the cap as well, and then you store it to not let anybody to touch it so that it doesn't get contaminated all over again. So foundation, if you are using foundation bottles, you must always clean them as well. So we just use this one, and as you can see, it gets dirty from outside. You have to take some alcohol, wipe it all, make sure you open it and wipe the nozzle, wipe the little all around and the cap. Once it's all clean, leave it to air dry, then you close it and your bottle is actually sanitized and ready to store. If you need to use any disposables, find container where you can separate them and they can be closed airtight so nothing get to them, no dust, or nobody can touch them. I love these. You can go to art supply store and find them. They're bead boxes. Make sure that those dividers are removable. Make sure you sanitize your container before you put anything in it, and you put all your disposable in here. Usually I have like little sponges also, it's like over here, and this is what I carry with me. Once I'm done, again, sanitize, close it, and it's ready to use. And this way nothing can get into your product at all, now into your disposable. Let's talk how to clean brushes. You are going to need two bowls, or if you're doing it in your sink, one bowl will have water, and you don't want hot water, just regular warm water. What I have inside is actually dishwashing soap. I like it because if I'm cleaning foundation brushes, it cut through the crease and it clean my brushes. The other bowl just have clear water. You can also just use the running water from the sink if you are actually at the sink doing this. Now, I personally will wear a glove in one hand, but if you have one of those silicone pads to clean your brushes, you can go ahead and use it. You do want to make sure that when you dip your brush, it doesn't go beyond that metal. So this is the maximum I will go in. Make sure you dip it well, then right on your palm or your silicone pad, you just swirl, 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 and you have to do it a couple of times. You want to make sure that is completely clean. Swirl, swirl, swirl. Keep dipping, keep doing this. Once you see that the water is almost starting to be clear, here we go. Now I can actually go ahead, dip it in clean water. Again, do not go beyond the metal. You don't want to ruin your brushes. Squeeze the excess water, reshape your brush, and we're going to lay it flat on a counter overnight to dry. Or you can hang them upside down if you have a tool, and that will actually let the water go down and will not ruin your brushes. So either flat or upside down. Option 2 to clean your brushes, especially when you have a large bridal party, you're not going to be able to wash your brushes in between. Grab your alcohol spray, spray your brush very well. And you're going to keep swirling. Do not squish your bristle, and repeat until it's completely clean. The nice thing about this is that alcohol dries very quickly, so you'll be able to reuse your brushes right away. You have to clean your brushes after every single customer. If you don't have the time, then you need to bring with you several sets. I carry with me always about 8 sets because I do a lot of large bridal party. Or you will need an assistant. She will be, or he will be the person that will actually clean your brushes in between and hand you product, etc. Assistants usually are not paid. They're usually students that want to learn more about the business of makeup artistry. If you do get somebody who is already a pro artist, then you do have to pay them, of course. But all what you want them to do is make sure to teach them how to sanitize your brushes and how to sanitize the tool for you, so you can move forward into the makeup and do all the larger party. These steps have to be repeated every single time you do makeup. Once you're done, you just, if you're using a paper towel, this is going to trash. If you're using a towel, you'll have to change the towel and make sure you wash it. Those steps are a must these days. You cannot be lenient. One thing I forgot to mention, make sure you wear your mask when you are working face to face with your customer. You're very close to them, so make sure you wear your mask. Even during the flu season, I always put my mask on. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any question, make sure you message us.